Hello everyone and welcome to Star Trek Discovery, Episode 12, Thwarting Ambitions, recap and reaction. Now unfortunately, this will be a solo cast today as Jacob is unable to join us, so it's just me today. So going into my quick reactions before we go straight into the actual recap. So I was pretty happy with this episode. I've got to say, throughout the Mirror Universe arc, it's been a really strong arc, I'd say, because this particular, the Mirror arc has been utterly fantastic compared to the previous. I'm not saying the other part was bad, it's just that this is a real step up in comparison to the first half, especially with the likes of, well, let's say spoilers, just in case you haven't watched the episode for some reason, with Lorca being revealed as the Mirror Lorca, which, as Jacob has said a few times, he thought that was the case. So, well done to Jacob for getting that one. Yeah, that's a few good, I think a few theories that now we've got correct, like the Mirror, and then the Tyler and Vok. Can't think of them off the top of my head, but those are the main two really. But yeah, but those are the really strong points. Obviously, the Saru, Tyler Vok, that was a little bit, only a minor part of the episode, but it was okay, I guess, but it wasn't really the main drive, because, ask yourself, what's going to happen with Tyler and Vok now? Is that just plotline gone? What's going to happen with it? I mean, you've still got 3 more episodes to go, so surely it's not totally finished, because it would seem a bit of a waste for all that mystery, and then it's just done. But the other main arc of this episode, or main sequence, is the Stamens part, and, he's finally up and about, and it's glad to see that he's back again. And I thought him in the network and then finding his way through, obviously, it seemed rather quickly he was out of it, but I thought it was a very good performance by Anthony Rapp, who I think, he does a pretty good performance most of the time anyway. So we're going to head straight into the recap now, since it's only myself really to discuss the episode with. So you got Burnham and Lorca being transported to the ISS Sharon, and they discuss the Defiant, how it got here, but the information that they've retrieved is redacted, so they can't really get more information, so they're going to try and get more out of the Emperor perhaps. So she injects him with some sort of serum to help him cope with the agonizer, so reduce the pain, and then they arrive at the Sharon. Now, the Sharon, that is a very interesting ship, because I think you have to see it a few more times to actually get a proper description of it, because it looks totally different compared to your standard disc shape of Starfleet. It's got almost like 3 prongs, and it just looks completely different to the standard Federation ship, or even the Shenzhou and the Discovery look drastically different from the ISS Sharon, which it looks absurd, but so wonderful at the same time. So, going back onto the Discovery. So, Tilly says that Stamens is improving, and Saru says, well, you can say it's improving, but he's in a coma, and that's about it, really. And basically, then Saru gets called off for a medical emergency, and that's the gist of it. There's not much there, which I would say that's fair enough. It doesn't prolong the episode too long, because this episode is actually a bit shorter than usual. It's about 35 minutes, so they're trying to get through things really pacey, as I am now. So we're in the network, and Stamens meets Mirror Stamens. This sort of happened in the previous episode, but they have a little back and forth as Stamens asks him, well, is he dead? And they talk about God and all that, but then they pass over that rather quickly, as Mirror Stamens just likes to joke with him for a bit and to see how his reaction goes. And he says that, well, Mirror Stamens is actually stuck on his ship as well, and that Stamens says he understands that the visions that he received, thinking Tilly was a captain, was actually reflections from his universe. So it was Mirror Stamens trying to actually communicate with Stamens so they can actually get some sort of link. So, because it appears that Mirror Stamens has been stuck in this condition for quite some time, and as they're moving, they go actually transport to a version of, well, Discovery. But not long after that, corruption starts to emerge, and Stamens has to realise which way it is to his lab to try and escape it before it actually gobbles him up or chases him around, because Mirror Statement says that this corruption, if you get stuck in it, will basically keep you lost for days. That's what's happened to the Mirror Statements. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty good, really, because I liked those two getting together, and I always particularly like the Statements character. He does a good job, Anthony Rapp, and it's just that, these last two episodes we kind of have missed him a bit. He's been stuck in a coma, really, as Saru really essentially said. He can't do much, he can't interact with anyone else, really, aside from him give himself cryptic warnings. Yeah, so Burnham and Lorca arrive in the Emperor's throne room. The Emperor greets her warmly and then makes her choose out a Kaplan, which was obviously Saru's race, and we figure out why, that they get picked out later on. And, well, Lorca essentially refuses to bow, and is given a good smackdown from the Emperor, and is dragged away. But the Emperor wants Burnham to join her for dinner, and she dresses her as daughter. Now, I do like this throne room. It's quite very, very powerful and intimidating, and the Emperor just seems like he had to hands dirty, because probably in other emperors would be sitting back on a throne and getting someone else to smack around Lorca if he disrespected her, but she gets right up to him and right in the thick of it. So I guess that's probably what Terran emperors are like. They're not really hiding away to get being charged. You have to face up to other people and fight for your position. But I wonder if Lorca is actually pretending he got hurt properly, because we had that injection from the shuttle. So, but it's obviously it's the daughter part which is really the big focus, because that shows the relationship that has come about in this mirror version, which obviously Burnham is surprised, but she's still going to play this role for a bit longer. So again, we're back on Discovery for a little quick scene as Tyler is struggling, as the Vok personality is fighting, because they're all scruffing about, and it's not. I mean, it's some really quick scenes with Tyler and Vok, which, I kind of need more of it, really, so we got to see more what happens in the next episode. Obviously, play out the scenes. So, on to the next scene. You also get a quick scene of Lorca being taken to an agonizer, and obviously, due to his injection, as previously stated, it's not going to hurt quite as much, so perhaps he should have had it earlier. That would have perhaps made more sense, but she's only just created, so I'm willing to let that go. Sometimes you can't just be too annoyed by these sort of things. So at the dinner, Burnham compliments the cooking, as the Emperor says it's kelp, which was a quite nice surprise for Burnham, and she offers her ganglia. Burnham has to eat it. Yeah, that was pretty funny in a dark way, really. And at this point is when the dinner mood tries to turn. So the Emperor wants to know why Burnham wanted to leave, and she's unhappy about having to clean up her mess with the rebels, and that she didn't really communicate with her. Burnham, she tries to make an excuse about Lorca could have spies, but the Emperor knows she's lying, and that she conspired against her, and then decides, you know what, she's going to get her taken away and be executed. Like I said, this scene was very enjoyable. I just feel like the whole Ganglia Kelplin thing was a nice little twist, because that's probably what would happen in some sort of these strange societies. You wouldn't, perhaps in a sort of fascist society, they wouldn't respect certain aliens, and if they've been raised as prey, they're thinking, they're only servants, I won't eat them. Which I can understand how they're going through the writing. And then obviously Burnham turning out to be, the mirror Burnham rather, turning out to be a conspirator rather than actually a loyal servant of the Emperor. Which I think if she was just a loyal servant, I don't think Burnham would last much longer, because even little hints here and there, because I think during in the dinner, Emperor has a little like twitch to say, why? Oh, you think we're not spies when I know you were a spy. So yeah, I think there was like Facade was starting to crack with that one. So we're back on Discovery. These statements are trying to find a way to get out. The mirror statements is having a problem with his arm, and it says the network is slowly taking over because on his arm is some sort of like growth, or it's basically the spores are starting to affect him, and he's slowly getting worse. But it seems he's been there for several days, and that's what's happened after several days. So, to be fair, he's got quite lucky with, shall we say, prime statements? Prime statements probably makes more sense arriving. But at this point, Statement sees the Doctor and runs off to meet him. Not much to say with this scene, because I quite like Anthony Rapp as he's acting this role, because it's always fun when you see actors having to play multiple roles almost against each other, like mirror statements, and it's always fun when you see these characters, these actors playing the same version against each other, because there's about two different roles each time. But then again, these are good actors, so they do know what they're doing really. But it was interesting how they had the Doctor come in to basically distract statements away. So we're back in the throne room of the ISS Sharon. The Emperor is preparing to execute her, and that's that point Burnham decides to reveal that she's from a different universe. She provides the badge of her Philippa Georgiou, which then makes the Emperor kill all but one of the attendants. And then she reveals that she knows about the Federation, which, I thought that was a pretty good revelation, because I don't know what else they could have expected, because either Burnham would have been killed for being the mirror version, and if the Emperor decides, I don't care, but then again, the Emperor would know, because obviously probably all Emperors would know about the Defiant and the mirror universe. So I think, this is quite logical. It was also, very surprised. There's some sort of weird blade thing, which almost reminds me of the scene from, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Wanted with Angelina Jolie, where she shoots a gun and kills all people in a circle. It felt a bit like that to me. Probably not a good film to probably reference, but that's what it reminded me of, really. So we're back on Discovery, going through these rather quickly, since there's no co-host with me. Saru goes to see L'Rell about the Tyler Vox situation, and Saru wants her to help him, but she refuses. And Saru tells her about that they're in a mirror universe, and all the little plans and schemes don't matter anymore. She then tells him how they created Tyler Vox, how they captured the original Tyler, recrafted his DNA, and then basically almost like carved out Vox into Tyler, which, it's all the pseudoscience. Obviously, you wouldn't just, people could ask how they did it, but like I said, at a certain point you gotta let it flow a bit with these sort of scenes. So statements, as I said, back on Discovery, the network. He's fallen Hugh, the Doctor, into the chamber, and then he's locked in. And the Doctor tells him that he's actually died. He's not actually trapped in the network, which, I quite like the Doctor. He was one of the secondary characters who I thought was a very interesting character, and it was just a pity that we've lost him, because the other secondary characters on Discovery we haven't really got to know properly. I mean, there's only 3 episodes left, and on the people on Discovery that we have seen, we've seen the new Doctor. Then we've seen 2 other Doctors. We've seen a blonde Doctor and this new Doctor now. There's none of the bridge crew we've seen at all. I don't know if the bridge crew between them, aside from Keela, the redhead, the rest, I don't think they've had perhaps 10 lines. It's not many you can really say about, but then again, I've got to say, it is the first season. Perhaps they'll do it more in the second season, because it has been announced for a second season, so perhaps it's just something that we can wait until then. So, back with Burnham again. So Burnham now wants Lorca to be set free, because, well, if he's not the mirror Lorca, well, why should we worry about? The Emperor essentially says that, well, if they're connected over universes, then her Lorca will be just as devious, and she probably wants a scapegoat for Lorca, because if they can say, even if it's a mirror one, it makes a difference to her, just propaganda purposes, like, well, we found him and executed, and they just televise it. That is probably one of the most logical things you could think about, that they would execute, even if it was the wrong person, to say, we've got him, he's dead, here's a live broadcast, because it stops all their supporters, eliminates them pretty quickly. But basically the Emperor doesn't want to help, really, and she's worried about the ideals of the Federation basically infecting her empire, because we're going to have a corporation. The Terrans said they've basically got rid of that years, well, maybe even centuries ago. But Burnham is just saying, just give us the information so they can leave. But the Emperor says that those who actually made the trip in the Defiant actually went mad when arrived in the mirror universe, so she wants to know how they actually got here. And then Philippa basically says, the Emperor says that, well, is her Giorgio a person of honor? And Burnham says, yes, she is. So let's make a negotiation, an exchange. But the problem with this is, it's a different person. This universe, most Terrans are evil, fascist at best. Well, perhaps not at best. There are people who are perhaps not fascists, but they're in a probably severe minority, and most certainly not in any position of power. So agreeing an exchange is probably the only thing they can do, but I'm hoping that at least they take precautions, because it doesn't make any sense that they wouldn't. But we're going to see if they actually are smart enough for that. So, back on Discovery, and Saru brings up to L'Rell that Tyler broke out of his shackles, or restraints, and he appears to be tearing himself apart, like some sort of really bad scratches on his chest. And Saru then transports Tyler Vok. I'm just going to call it Tyler Vok, because I'm not sure whether saying Tyler or Vok makes much sense, into her cell, which then makes her agree to fix him, because she's devastated by what's happened to him. Now, you gotta wonder yourself, if he's having this sort of strange reaction, is it because his human form is in love with Burnham? That's why it's not quite blending. What was the original plan? No, it's to cause sabotage or to learn the plans the Sport will drive. But would he at some point want to return to his own body, or was that an impossibility? It's still a bit unclear with the whole Tyler Vok thing, what the plan was, really, because I assume at a certain point, even if they were successful, the Tyler Vok shell would have to be discarded and trying to build himself a new Klingon body, perhaps? That's the only thing that I'd do, or would he just basically commit suicide? It seems like you're not really sure what they would actually plan to do at all. Anyway, so we're back with the ISS Sharon, and one of the Imperial captains, they learned it's Captain Maddox, is actually the captain of the Sharon. So he arrives to torture Lorca, so he dismisses the other guards, and he brings in a prisoner. Now, he wants to know about his sister, because his sister was with Lorca, or Mirror Lorca, which is also our Lorca, which is getting a little bit confusing to say. But anyway, so he wants her to say the name of his sister, and if he won't, he'll kill the prisoner with, it's like a DNA of some sort of insect or parasite, and which doesn't work well with their blood, which when he then injects the prisoner and he explodes quite violently, it's like, oh, wow, that is some awful stuff. I mean, where the hell did they find this parasite? I mean, how did they know it did that? Ugh. Yeah, you can sort of tell what's going to happen with this. I mean, I wonder, that parasite seems like pretty powerful stuff. I mean, how much of it does he need to actually do that to a person? Because it didn't look like it was a massive amount. If you'd have like small amounts and you attacked other people on it, you could do a lot of damage with that thing. A lot of damage. Now we're going back to Discovery, and Laurel is performing her surgery. And it's some sort of like injections like into the brain, which it appears to be successful. And then Laurel is obviously let out the cry of death, but that's something else to call it. But like I said before, I'm not sure about this scene because is Tyler Vok gone, dead? It's confusing. Which one is it? Is Tyler now returned, taken over? Then what does it mean with the whole subplot? I mean, it's all very mysterious going through back several episodes, but what's going on? 3 episodes left. Will the Vok reemerge? Don't know. I mean, I just hope it hasn't just been discarded, which would be quite the pity, really. So we're back with Stamens, and he's talking to Hugh, the doctor, and he remembers his death, remembers sitting in a chair and seeing Tyler snap his neck. But it's just about this point where Mirror Universe Stamens tries to get in, but obviously the door's locked, and Stamens plays classical music, one that he hates, to get rid of him. Appears to work, but then Stamens wants to experience life with Hugh again. But of course, since Hugh is dead, it's only be a shallow experience for a bit. After some nice few scenes them being together, Hugh tells him that the mirror Stamens is the reason the network is corrupted, and that he needs to save it. He helps him wake up, but Mirror Stamens also wakes up on the Sharon. Our Stamens, on Discovery, wakes up and goes to check on a spore forest, but that's dead. Now it makes you wonder, where is the forest or spores for the mirror Stamens, or is it like a tardigrade? I wouldn't be surprised if it's also the tardigrade. That would make probably more sense with like the ways that the Terrans actually act. And if they release the tardigrade and it starts ripping up people on the Sharon, that is one way for that whole ship to get crushed, destroyed. Yeah, fingers crossed that happens in the next 2 episodes. Lots of fingers crossed for that. Now, get into a final scene and revelation time for now. And so Burnham tells Saru that they'll make an exchange, which obviously is not the major part of the scene, but we're getting multiple scenes here. It's like we're flipping between the Imperial Captain Maddox and then back to Burnham quite rapid, so I'm not going to make them separate scenes. I think they're all essentially connected, really. So the Imperial Captain intensifies the torture, and then back to the Emperor. So he says that Lorca was like a father to Burnham, and then more, so I love her. And then she starts to experience flashbacks as she starts to realize that Lorca is actually from the Mirror Universe. We get little scenes about, why I came with you is not because what you thought, and then little scenes where the Emperor is saying things about how he groomed her, and then, but to essentially confirm the point, the Emperor opens up her shielding, or rather the wall, and show I'm not sure if it's a power core or some sort of like miniature sun or what it was, but she reacts to the light by looking away, which, if I knew there was a bright light somewhere, I would not be opening that to have a look at it. It seems like a rather stupid thing to do, but they wanted to do it to show the light thing. So she says that humans in the Mirror Universe are light sensitive compared to from the Prime Universe, which makes her finally click that her Lorca is actually the Mirror Lorca, so he used her to get to the Emperor. Now we're getting back over to the torch chamber, where the Imperial Captain thinks he might have killed Lorca and lets him out, which at this point he thinks he's almost dead, but instead he gets back up with a quick fight, takes him out, and before killing him lets him know that name of his sister, but then says he found someone better, which is obviously Burnham, before killing him. So yeah, that's the recap. Gotta say, really enjoyed the episode. Very much looking forward to the next episode, which, according to some trailers, looks like it'll be a big fight to try and take over the Sharon, which Burnham looks like she might actually be helping the Emperor. Which, if I was Burnham, I would be unsure who to support because we don't really know what the motivations of Mirror Lorca is. Because I know the Empire is bad, but we don't know if Lorca wants it for personal ambition or to actually improve the Empire. I assume that it's just personal to become the Emperor, rather than wanting to make it better. That seems the most reasonable thing to think. But looking forward to that. But hopefully, next week Jacob will be available to join us. So if you want to let me know what you thought of this, doing a solo one, if it was perhaps a little bit rushed in parts, but please let me know what you think. Please subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.